Well, hi there. This is the stitch I'm going to show you how to do today. It's a really nice stitch pattern. I call it Junowl stitch. Okay? And it's a 1-row stitch, but you will have to mark your looms. So, well, unless you can remember really well, I sure can't. So I'm using a Cindywood loom, 5/8 inch gauge. It has 42 pegs. And I'm using 13 pegs to get this width. Okay. The loom hook I'm using is from a company that's called We Have a Handle on This. They stopped making loom hooks, but they are going to start up again, she told me. So, but in the meantime, they have really nice loom hooks also on Etsy. You can buy them there, and they're very similar to this. Okay, so now how you're going to mark the loom. Oh, I'll tell you about the yarn first. I love this chunky yarn in the color Plum Garden. So it's a bulky yarn, and I'm using a 5/8 inch gauge to get this particular look. The stitch, you can use any yarn you want with the right size loom. Okay, it has lots of texture, looks quite good. Okay, doesn't curl, and there's no purls in it. Okay, so that's nice. Now what I did is I marked my 2 end pegs because you need to do that. So I marked them with a navy blue markers here. On this side I have the black peg and a navy blue marker there. Where I get these markers is on Amazon, and they're just small needle knit silicone markers. You get a whole pack for next to nothing, and the small size fits right on these pegs, but you can mark them any way you want. But I marked them with a different color than I did for the pattern. So this is the edge. Then for the pattern, you're going to need an odd peg loom. Well, not the loom, but you're going to use odd pegs. I use 13 here. And the reason for that is you want to end with the same stitch on both sides. So that makes it odd. If you were even, you would end with a different stitch before the end peg. So you need to be odd. This stitch also would not look the same in the round at all. This stitch looks completely different in the round, and this stitch also won't be zigzagging like that. It'll all be straight lines. It still looks really nice. It makes a nice pattern and nice thing in the round, but it does not match like this. Okay, looks completely different. Okay, so now you're going to mark the first peg after your 2 end pegs. So that's peg 3, and then peg 5, 7, every second peg. And then when you get it as wide as you want it to be, and this can be wide enough to be a blanket, it'd make an awesome blanket. Make it, or a shawl, make it as wide as you want. Just make sure that you end with the pattern and then your 2 end pegs. Okay? All right. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Now I'm doing an owl eye edge, and I'll show you a couple times how to do that edge, but we'll get started on the stitches we do on each of the pegs. So on the end pegs and all the clear pegs, we're doing owl eye. Okay? On these pegs here, we're doing juniper berry stitch. Okay? So we're on the orange peg. We're going to do juniper berry, and how you do that is you go over it, come back, go over it again. Okay, watch that motion, over in front of the peg like a U-wrap, behind and over it again. You now have 3 strands of yarn on the loom. You're going to take the bottom one and put it over the top 2, and then you're going to take the next bottom one, and make sure you always got the bottom one. You can tell if you pull on the top one, you'll see it move and you'll know that's the top yarn. So you take the bottom one over the top and give it a little snug. Okay, now you're going to do owl eye on one peg. So you're going to go over in a U-wrap. Then from behind, you're going to come in front and over it again and knit it. Okay, now you're back to doing the juniper berry. It's a lot like the juniper stitch, except for the juniper stitch we take both of the bottom ones over the top, but we don't want to do that with this pattern because that makes a loose stitch. Even though it looks similar, we want a tight stitch that looks like this. So we're using juniper berries. So we go over, we take the bottom one over the top, and then the next one on the bottom over the top, give it a little snug. Okay, now we go over in a U-wrap, come back around in a U-wrap, knit it off. Okay, 2 pieces of yarn like this, wind it around because we're on the colored peg. Bottom one goes over the top. Oops, I lost it. And then the next one goes over and snug it. Then go over in a U-wrap. From behind, come back in front, knit it off, and then we're going to go two pieces of yarn, take this one over the bottom, and the next bottom one over again, and we're going to knit it, come back over in another U-wrap. Then on this one, we're going to put it around and do the bottom one, and the next one over. Now we're doing the end. Whenever we do the ends, we're going to do an owl eye border. So I'm going over it in a U-wrap, knitting it off, coming back around and going over both of them, knitting them off. Now I want this to be loose, so I usually pull that out because I want it to be nice and loose, and I go over both of them. And then I do my second U-wrap on this one. And then I come over here, do the double, knit that over, knit that one over, go over in a U-wrap, back over in a U-wrap, over here and do it double, over in U-wrap, in a U-wrap, over double, bottom over the top. Okay, so over in a U-wrap, from behind, over in front, over twice, bottom over the top 2, next bottom one over, snug it, U-wrap, another U-wrap, around from going behind, now we do 1 stitch over the side, come over both of them, come back over. I usually pull this to make sure it's nice and loose. Second stitch on this one, and now this one will be juniper berry again. So take a look at this now. You can see that it's a lot longer, and that's just from doing the 2 rows. This knits up so fast. It looks very beautiful. So here's what you look like when you cast on with the chain cast on. It's a chain crochet cast on. I'll have this linked on my channel so you can just go ahead and make something like this, knowing how I did it, or you can use your own things that you want to use with this. But this is how it looks, and the pattern goes all the way to the edge. Now the sides, because it's owl eye edge, look like this. It gives you just a beautiful tight edge. There it is there, just a beautiful tight edge, almost a braided look. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And what does it look like on the other side? There's what it looks like on the other side. So it's an interesting pattern on the other side too. There, you can see it there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video and have lots of fun doing things with this stitch. And until next time, bye.